Janet's making it all about herself. I think it's fucking stupid. The entire thing is now about Janet. You think production is going to follow you to your dinner, Janet, which is what I think she wanted. No, they're not going to follow you to your stupid dinner. And Jason had every right to say everything that he did. She completely shut him down and talked over him.
Listener discretion advised. Adult language and mature content.
It's chaotic, but it's good.
We're here. Here we are.
We're here. Here we are. Welcome back, everybody. It is Two Queens, One Screen. I'm Jen.
I'm Keely.
And I am off my meds. But it's fine because I'm also back on them. And my ADHD is very strong, and I am not emotionally regulated.
Buckle up, everybody.
So it's going to be intense today. Keely, I appreciate you, and I might just hire you as my new therapist because, as I was just telling you, I don't. I'm all whacked out, and I had therapy today, and I was like, you know what? I don't have to talk about anything that's really going on because what I can talk to my therapist about is, one, Jesse Lally's life coach doing the opposite of an iMessage in his men's group last time. She will be livid, just like I was. I know it. And also, I learned about, in therapy, the Johari window, which is the things that you don't know about yourself that everyone else knows about you, which I think is really interesting. And there's actually, in like family therapy or like in group therapies and things like that, there is a set of exercises where in a therapeutic way you learn about what is in your Johari window. What do you not know about yourself? What do you not realize that other people can see? And I find that fascinating because I constantly worry what is it about me that pisses everyone off that I don't even realize I'm doing. Is that something that you worry about?
Fuck no.
Oh, I worry about it all the time.
I could give a shit less. That is a you problem.
It is a and usually
or a them problem. No, I don't care what you don't like about me. So no.
That's probably healthier. But last night's Love Island was so much of that.
That's basically what it was.
It was like a evil, dark, twisted version of here's what everyone wants you to know they think about you.
Yeah.
I think the entire world that was watching is all like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah.
Everyone has very strong feelings. Yeah. But to the point of my therapist doesn't watch either of those shows, was not really interested in my commentary of it.
What?
And also said that I can't adopt the kitten that I'm fostering right now. So I might need a new therapist.
Right. We discussed that. She might be fired.
Like, I'm sorry that you're trying to be productive in our sessions, but
we can't see each other anymore. We're breaking up. It's you, actually, not me. So
she's actually helped me immensely.
Love Island is a deal breaker.
But Love Island is, I feel like that's an important part of anyone that I'm speaking to. How do you not know these things?
We found out that you're not journaling because of Love Island.
Yeah, that was the worst part. She was like, when is this show on? And I was like, every night at 9:00. And she was like, is that what you haven't been journaling? Like,
whoops.
Oh, yeah, because I go to bed after. Or I'm looking at the Instagram things about, like, who do I vote for? I need America to help me.
Vote for.
And so part of being off my meds is today I woke up this morning and I really regretted my votes from last night of who my favorites were. So much has happened. Again, it's been a week, but it is a different reality of time. It's, what is that one? Interstellar.
Yeah.
with Matthew McConaughey, where they go on another planet, but it's been like 35 years, even though it's only been 5 minutes on the planet.
Yes.
That's what's happening
Yes.
on Love Island. And it's interesting to watch. But I am now Team Huda. I am also Team Amaya. And they drove me nuts. I am still an Orlandria fan. I am still a Shelley fan, but I think they are fucking up right now, and I think that they're going to have to work on this. I am also feeling like, in this age of social media, just getting very serious for a second, we are learning way too much about these people. I feel like last season I didn't know anything about anybody.
Correct.
And this season, I know the history of everyone because of social media, and I don't want to. I also can't keep up with all of the information. It's just too much to digest. Matt and I went to Dutch Bros the other day to get a coffee, and I heard the person taking the order talking about Love Island with the car in front of them. So what I did is I rolled down the window and I climbed out of the window. Matt can attest to this. So I'm like out of the window and I was like, yeah, but what do you think of Hoda? And I'm screaming and they're screaming back at me. That actually gives me faith in humanity because I connected. I'm also like, these people were probably not quite of drinking age. I'm like 40 and screaming out a window at them about Love Island, but that was fun. Poor Matt. He's gotten to the point that he's so used to me, he's not even embarrassed. He's just like, this is what she does. But then I find out from the cashier at Dutch Brothers that Chris is a Tory Lanez apologist. Tory Lanez being the guy that shot Megan Thee Stallion in the foot. So I want to be on Team Chris, but then I have this knowledge in the back of my mind, although I also did try and look it up and I can't find it. So I don't know if it's even true or not.
Yeah.
And I always take in this information at face value and I'm trying to learn about it. And I have so many conflicting opinions on everything.
Yeah.
That I don't know what I feel.
Yeah. No, I get that.
That was a lot that I just exploded out of my mouth at you. Okay, so where are you? Who did you vote for? We'll just start with that. Who was your favorite guy?
Oh my God, you're just going to go right into it. My favorite guy is Chris. I voted for Chris. And I texted you, you absolutely may not vote for Nick. That's what I texted you. Mm-hmm. And my favorite girl is Maya. And you voted for Sierra. So we're not friends.
Well, I like Sierra. I think that
Sierra is fake as fuck. Sierra is so plastic that she gets anywhere near any sort of heat, she's going to melt. Anytime the camera is on her, she knows exactly what to say. Like after Amaya was bullied by Ace and Austin and she ran away. And can I tell you that I cried. I was so sad watching that. My heart hurt. So when Amaya ran away and there goes actress Sierra running after her and telling her, you be the best Amaya you can be. That made me gag. That
really?
was
I
fucking
thought at least
fake.
She was getting support.
No, that is not support at all. That is Nick doing what he did to Huda, pulling her aside on the dock and saying, I am here for you. And you're not alone. And then fucking her right to her face and saying, what is that? He did the exact same thing to Jeremiah before he kicked him off.
It was really backstabby. I was definitely disappointed. And what's all the news that's come out about Sierra?
Yep.
Which I had no idea about.
Yep.
Sierra is a racist.
Yeah.
And is throwing around racial slurs against Asians. And you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why?
Yes. Yeah.
I thought that if you're in the rave scene, if you're into rave and electric dance music, EDM, right? I thought that you probably aren't racist, but apparently you can be. And that sucks.
Yeah,
And
I think she needs to go.
Well, if they got rid of what's her face at the very beginning,
Yeah.
they're like, so and so left the villa, and then never speak of her again, aren't they? I mean, you kind of have to, right?
Yeah.
Like, you kind of. I don't know how you get away with not, especially if they're willing to address the online bullying that Vanna was getting.
Right.
Then you need to address
the
Sierra in the room.
Right.
I think.
I completely agree. Completely agree.
Yeah, I'm totally an Amaya Papaya fan now.
Yeah.
I thought that she was a little bit irritating, but it's you know what? She is herself. She is open. She is genuine. She is the most genuine person on there.
I appreciated Brian standing up for her.
I was so fucking whatever about Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, get him out. I do not care.
Yeah.
And he's like, you guys don't get this.
Yeah.
She's fine, and you guys are coming after her for no good reason.
Yeah.
Also, she's left the guys that came after her. She's left them alone for a while.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact Ace pulled her up during the heart rate challenge.
Yeah.
I thought that was a sign of like, and he poked fun at like their weird thing. I thought that was him going like water under the bridge.
Yeah. Exactly. What are you doing?
Sucks.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Yeah.
And Shelley, which I have a Shelley apologist asterisk here, but I think Shelley's out of line against Huda. I don't think Huda went too far.
No.
If anything, Huda made herself a fucking star with that flip and her legs in the air the shaking it.
Yeah. Wow.
Have you tried to figure out how to do that on your couch yet?
Oh, no. I mean, her core has to be outstanding to be able to do that. No.
It was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Good for Huda. I think everyone loves Huda now. I mean,
this is what I think. I think the stupid trio, the Mean Girls, Sierra and Alandria and Shelley, I think they secretly believe that America hates Huda, and they think that they can get away with this bullying bullshit, and they can treat Huda however they want to treat her, and they can completely ignore her, and they can do this bullshit and not have any backlash. And I think they're going to be surprised.
I think that Shelley is going to be learning a really hard lesson.
Yeah.
I don't think that she's a ruined forever person. I think she can recover from this if she learns from it. Alandria, I think, is wrapped up with Shelley because that's her best friend, so she's just going to be backing up her best friend. And I think she's too blinded by what she's going through with Taylor. I think her freak out at Taylor was kind of warranted, and I think Taylor standing up for himself in that was also warranted. I think that they needed to have that really hard talk, but both of them are trying to be respectful. Both of them are trying to be hold themselves together and be as reasonable and adult in this fucked up weirdo situation, like sub-reality that is Love Island. And then it's like, okay, but you guys are all human, and I think that it all broke through during this. I think that was the only good thing about the Standing on Business challenge, was the Olandria-Taylor conversation, because Taylor was finally upfront with his words rather than just his actions, because his words were not matching his actions. I don't think Taylor liking Clark and going for Clark instead of Olandria is wrong. I think that's exactly what he's supposed to do in this show if he genuinely feels that way about Clark. But I think he needed to be direct with Olandria, and I don't think he was, ever. And Olandria was like, look at me, I'm still doing this thing, and I'm staying by you. And that really fucking hurt her, but she was trying to stay strong, and I think she needed to break. I think she needed to just let it all out, to be genuine in herself. So I'm glad that happened. I think you have to have those awful conversations sometimes to get to the point where it's good. Because people are going to get their hearts broken in this show. That's just part of it. So, Olandria, your heart's broken. Be heartbroken. That's okay. Don't be heartbroken for more than an episode, but let your heart be broken is how I feel.
I think all of that. I think all of that is fine, but I don't agree that she because she's Shelly's best friend that she can act like a bitch. Because she's heartbroken, she can act like a bitch. I don't think that's okay at all. I don't think she can attack Huda like that because she's Shelly's best friend.
It was
You can be an
whacked out.
adult.
Yeah.
You can be someone's best friend and not act like a bitch. I just don't think so. You can be heartbroken and not act like a bitch. I don't think so. I mean, I don't buy that excuse at all. Olandria, up until this point, has been the most mature person, emotionally mature person up until this point. And I do not know what fucking fell apart. What happened? I don't know what happened. Something had crumbled somewhere.
Well, I think it's when she finally realized, oh, it's definitely not, I can do everything. She gave everything, and I'm still not going to get what I want, even though she put in all of the work. And I think that that's kind of devastating. So I think this is her faltering right now. And again, I think that when it comes to the Huda stuff, I'm hoping she can learn from it. I'm hoping that she can fix it, because I think she owes Huda an apology. I don't think Huda realized that she can't open up to Olandria anymore. And Olandria was like, hey, we're friends, we're good. Yeah. And then was like, the second that Shelly decided she was upset about Huda and Chris, Olandria sided with her. Yep. And I just don't think she has the bandwidth to see everything clearly right now.
No, and Shelly's so immature that she can't have a conversation with Huda for how many days? Are you kidding me? Right. Give me a break.
So, and of course, she didn't tell Shelly that they kissed. Shelly said, I'm not talking to you right now. Right. And Huda said, all right, I respect that. So Huda's supposed to wait quietly in the corner until Shelly's ready to talk to her before she's allowed to move on with Chris and see what's going to happen? Right. I don't think that's fair. And also, Chris, I like Chris until I find out that it's 100% true about the Tory Lane stand stuff. But Chris is like super hot, and he seems way more emotionally mature, and he seems very comfortable navigating the parts of Huda that are her anxious attachment style. Yeah. Right? And he seems chill with that. And he also said, listen, I will put in the effort, but I want it to be reciprocated. I'm not here to chase you. I'm going to put in effort. It's going to be a two-way street. Well, Shelly's not giving him anything, so he's like, then I'm not in. I'm going to go give that attention to Huda.
She's telling him he's not putting in an effort. He's making her breakfast.
And he gave her two pancakes and a flower.
What are you talking about? He's not putting in any effort. He's pulling her for chats. He's talking to her, and he's making her food. I mean, I don't understand what she's not seeing.
I do have Ace marching around being like, that's mine. I'm doing this.
I mean, give me a break. So Shelly needs to shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. So these girls are not the girls from last season. The sisterhood is not the sisterhood of last season.
And who is Sierra? Sierra on relationship confronting Chris and saying who Chris needs to start talking about Huda more. To who? Who does Chris need to say he likes Huda to? The wall, the flowers, the pool? He needs to walk up to Sierra and say, I like Huda. I mean, just because Sierra's in a closed off relationship with Nick, Chris needs to walk up to Sierra and say, I like Huda. I mean, what the fuck, Sierra? Give me a break.
It's this hierarchy within the show where they think because they're some of the original people that came in, and Sierra wasn't even the first generation of this season.
Exactly.
You know? So chill the fuck out. I guess because she went on a date and they're the first people closed off, it didn't make you the queen of it. And then she suddenly like, we're the strongest, so strong couples are the ones that matter now. It's like,
oh my lord, no. Give me a break.
No. So tonight is Wednesday, so we do not have Love Island tonight. So Matt and I are going to, I think, have some drinks and watch Milo Notice, and I think it's going to be a really nice little palate cleanser.
It was intense.
It was intense.
So intense.
I was so disappointed in Nick. I really wanted to like Nick, and he just keeps doing the same shit. Okay, let's talk about Ace really quick, and then we will get to
Okay.
the other fun things that we want
Okay.
to talk about, and then I can be done with Love Island.
Yeah.
I was not on the side of TikTok / Instagram where Ace, his persona online before Love Island,
Right.
is that he teaches these online dance
Right.
classes, and the goal is to spread joy and
Right.
positivity and self-confidence. And he's teaching these like guys in Pakistan. He's teaching these women who were domestic abuse survivors.
Yeah.
He's teaching these like grandmas in the Philippines. It's so cute and it's so funny. And he's a dance teacher, so he's like genuinely trying to get them to do stuff. So when he's scolding them because they're not following instructions, it's hilarious, but it's all kind. And he made it onto Jennifer Hudson's talk show because like he's done such a great, and his vibe is so different than what it is in the show.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's because he's not feeling confident, and I think he's trying to force that into himself in the show, but I think instead it's making him kind of lash out at everybody.
Yeah, I can see
the vibe
that.
I'm getting.
I can see that.
Also,
I mean, he's a leader, right? He has his own company or whatever you want to call this dance group. So he's a leader of this dance group. And so that's maybe where he tends to go in front of a group of people, is to lead people. But I think you're right that it's coming off as being forced, right? Because he doesn't know these people, and maybe it's too forced. I don't know.
Yeah, because he's not the leader in this situation.
Yeah.
He's trying to create that position for himself, but
Yeah.
they're all in competition with each other.
Yeah.
There's not a leader of the group, and when there does become a leader of the group, it feels bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, what is Sierra doing? What is Shelley doing? Why are they the
Right.
leaders of the group?
Right.
It wasn't like that last season.
And when Austin started to call him out, you know, in the Ace posse, I was like, okay, this is going to be good. It started to be good. I thought nobody's calling him out yet.
I actually kind of agreed with Austin, too.
Right. I was like, okay, this is going to be good. And then it all just went to hell.
Went to hell. Although, Austin, I need him to go. When we start voting and we can start actually getting rid of people, I need Austin to go.
Yeah.
Because of the people that I'm most mad at, I think I am the most mad at Austin. Because he and Amaya should be fine. And he ripped her the fuck apart for no good reason.
Oh, yeah. Yep, just for breathing.
Oh,
I mean,
she was too attached and too like excited about you. What is wrong with you? You're on Love Island. That's the whole fucking point.
Yeah.
She was sweet to you and talked up. You're going to be a great father. Like, be kind to her.
Right.
She's so sweet. She didn't even really talk shit about anybody.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know. And then even did Zach with a K kind of talk shit about her last night too?
Yeah,
he was like, it's too much.
He has.
Like,
he'll kiss her and then say, "Yeah, don't tell anybody about this."
I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, Huda and Amaya are my top two right now.
Yeah.
Which is shocking to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Iris seems very cool. She's so fucking boring.
Boring. Yeah.
TJ, so fucking boring.
Boring.
So anyway. Also, okay, what I needed to say about Ace. There's him teaching the dance class to the guys in Pakistan. And he gets the guys in Pakistan to ask Shelley to be his Valentine in February. They're scammers.
Yeah. No, I believe it.
And Shelley are scammers.
I believe that 100%. People don't vote for them because they're not.
I don't think they're real.
It's not real for them.
Although I do think that Shelley is now in the house and going, I could be with Ace, or I could be with an ex-pro basketball player.
Yeah. Did you see that all three of them, Alandria, Shelley, and Sierra, lost over like 100,000 followers?
I did.
Yeah. Good for them. They should lose more than that.
I'm not saying cancel them.
No.
Maybe Sierra needs to get canceled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take down those fucking videos. If you're going to be on
Yeah.
TV, I'm going through and scrubbing my social media.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No one gives a shit about me. If I'm going to be on Survivor, if I'm going to be on Wheel of Fortune, I'm scrubbing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But also, I've never said that word. So, it's that simple.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. Now on to happier times. Happy things. We'll go into our valley.
Oi.
Will you Maui me?
Will you Maui me?
Will you Maui me?
Oh.
So cute. So cute. This was such a nice, easy episode overall. I think.
Yeah.
And all of the things that I'm irritated by are very petty, which was also very nice.
Yeah.
I think overall. Now I'm thinking about Jesse. I don't know. We'll get there. We'll cross the bridge when we get there. Everybody's in Maui because Luke has set up this whole trip for everyone under the guise that Nia and Danny did it because he's going to be proposing to Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole episode is about that, which I think is quite sweet. But Luke isn't handling things well.
Oh, he's having a little bit of diarrhea.
Yeah. Physically and emotionally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He sets up this dinner for everyone, and I guess traveling had been really hard for a lot of people, especially for them because they had done like 36 hours of traveling because they also made a point to go see his grandmother because his grandmother's dying. So he's jet lagged, he's ill, he's upset, and he's also a nervous wreck. Did you know that Steve was going to propose before he proposed?
Oh, God, no. Nope.
No.
Mm-mm. No.
I had no idea that Matt was going to propose.
Nope.
But I should have known. Much like Kristen, I should have known because we went into DC, and one of the things that you do when you drive into DC, if you live around in like the Northern Virginia, Maryland area, and you go into DC, one of the things that you have to do is get into a fight with your significant other about where you're going to park.
Oh, okay.
That is a thing. Parking in DC is a hellscape. And it's either expensive or impossible to find.
Oh, God.
And we went in and we didn't spend 45 minutes figuring out where to park. He just went, we'll just park here. And I was like, but it's $35. And he was like, it's fine. And that is not normal for Matt. So that should have tipped me off, but it didn't. It didn't tip me off.
Okay.
So they all are there for the first night. They're all having their dinner. This is after the beach / cabana day that they had had.
Yeah.
We have some rocky truces that have been set up.
That's a loose definition right there of what happened.
I mean, I don't know. They were like, "Are you sorry?" Cool. I guess I'm sorry too. Maybe we can move forward.
Yeah.
We'll see how genuine you are. And that was from all sides, correct?
Right. And Kristen's like, she didn't even fucking talk to me, so.
Oh, yeah. So Janet screamed at Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in Janet's mind, Kristen is just water off a duck's back. It's like, she's fine.
What? Nice.
And Kristen's like, yeah, what the hell? And Nia's like, well, I guess we've apologized. And then they have a cheers to friendship, and everyone cheers to friendship.
I know, and Janet's just looking around the room.
Like, is this gonna get shot? Gonna get popped?
Mm-hmm.
And then it starts to be this conversation. I think it's Jason. This episode is just another perfect example of Jason. I have been completely hypnotized by him. And now it's all falling away because I thought he was sweet. I thought he was, rational. I thought he was, like, not into the drama, just very chill. No, he's a little shit stirrer.
Yeah, he is.
And he has been all season. He was the first one to be like, so Jax, are you drinking anymore? You're going to tie one back with us? He was the one, I don't know, he said lots of little shit. But he's also the first one to go up to Aaron and be like, so Aaron, how are you feeling about Jesse over there?
I know.
Is he making you uncomfortable? And Aaron, I think, felt confident enough / was drunk enough
Yeah.
He goes, it's a lot of childish behavior, a lot of unwell behavior. Oh my God. And then Jesse's like, from across the table, everyone's about to get up and they're going to go move on to the bar or doing something else. The dinner's over. And Jesse's like, hey, Aaron, I think we should sit down and have a conversation. Half the people there are like, it was exactly like you said, where they're like, are we leaving? Should we stay?
I know.
Should we not leave?
Yeah.
I don't know that we should leave him by himself. And then he's like, no, it's okay. And everyone's like, they didn't leave. No one really left.
Nobody
they gave
left.
some space, but
Yeah.
left because everyone's like, what's going on? So the Father's Day picture gets brought up again, and we get more background in the after show about this as well. So there is a picture that gets posted on Father's Day by Aaron with Michelle. It ends up being his mom too, I think.
Yeah.
At a party barbecue that happened at Aaron's mom's house on Father's Day.
Because
with Isabella there. Because Jesse's in Cabo, which kind of fine, right? Jesse can go to Cabo. He was invited to a wedding. Sometimes it's gonna happen.
He chose to do that knowing it is Father's Day, yo.
Or I will give him the benefit of the doubt, completely forgetting that it's Father's Day. I constantly forget. I forgot it was my anniversary yesterday.
But you can't get mad, right?
You can't then turn that around and be like, on Father's Day. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I also don't disagree with Jesse that the optics of that kind of fucking suck. If everyone's going, why is your kid with... That's not Aaron's fault, though.
Exactly.
But if he's like, Jesse's like, I don't like that picture's up on Father's Day. It's making me uncomfortable. Aaron went, okay, and took it down. That's the end of it.
Sure.
That's the end. It's over.
Yep.
And Jesse is holding on to it. And then in the after show, Jax is like, it's literally making him physically angry.
Yeah.
Jax, with all of his therapy, it's not getting better. Because he's angry for Jesse. Like, he was ready to, like, take his sweater off and go running to a fist fight in the middle of a parking lot in Vegas. Like, he was ready to do it again.
Yep.
You have zero growth.
Yeah.
Also, someone pointed out to us in the comments on TikTok that he went to a mental health facility, which is not rehab, and there is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually were like, here's the video that you need to watch that explains the difference. So thank you for that. I don't remember who it was, but I appreciate it. And then also, so Jax, the mental health facility is very similar to the life coach. It's not going to be the same amount of help that he really needs. But he wants... Aaron basically says, I took it down and I respected what you said, but respect is a two-way street. Oh my God, Aaron, are you standing up to Jesse? All right. Well, they were both sitting. I don't feel like Aaron is purposely trying to cross a line. I don't feel like Aaron is trying to be disrespectful. I feel like Aaron would like to be like this.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like Aaron would like to have a relationship with Michelle, then he's like in this awkward... I feel bad for Aaron in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jesse's like, well, she triggers me and she knows how to get under my skin, which is true. Mm-hmm. They're both still like throwing little jabs at each other. Granted, Jesse's the one instigating 99% of it. But he's like, well, but it's also time for us to fix it and start working together. I just need you to be on my team. Actually, I think he says that later. But you realize that he somehow thinks that he's going to get Aaron to go, oh, I need to defer to Jesse. When really, Aaron's job is to defer to Michelle.
Yeah, right.
He looks to Michelle for what the boundaries are. He looks to Michelle for what that is.
Yep.
And at least that's my opinion.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. I mean, you've been through it, so you know better than me. As a kid, the step-parent doesn't need to look at the other... They can if they have an okay relationship. Sure, you can have that conversation. But this is a volatile relationship all around.
Yeah.
If I'm Aaron, I'm not calling Jesse to say, hey, can I do XYZ? If you're Jesse, you go, I do not want pictures of our daughter on social media. You can do that. Maybe don't put her on national television, though. If social media is your hard line.
I mean, come on.
But maybe I'm wrong. But that's the end of it. And Michelle comes in and gets Aaron, and she's like, "Are we good? We're okay?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's go." And that's the end of the night.
Yeah.
And then genuinely, maybe my second favorite, we all know what my first favorite is, which we'll get to with Kristen later, but my second favorite shot of the entire episode is the next morning they wake up and they show Nia and Danny's bed.
Oh my God. We have seen that before, but yes.
I mean, holy fucking shit.
Mhm.
So she's using a lot of self-tanner, and it looks like a murder scene. If you're a hotel, are you not like charging them for new sheets?
I have to wonder. I have no idea. I would think so. That's so gross.
On one of the seasons of Below Decks, there was a charter guest who, I want to say it was Sailing Yacht. I really don't like Sailing Yacht, but I think it was, who had self-tanner on and literally ruined one of the couch cushions because she was covered in self-tanner.
Yuck.
And the stews are like trying to get it out, but they can't. They're like crying because it's white. I don't use self-tanner though. I mean, I use the Jergens that makes you look tan because I don't go outside enough. But that doesn't get on the sheets.
Yeah.
Why are we putting that much body makeup on? Nia
my
is
God.
beautiful. Nia, you can have
Yeah.
like the veins. You can be splotchy. No one gives a shit. Your
Oh my
face
God,
card
I
is
know.
too perfect.
Yeah.
Oh
Wow.
God, poor Nia. But yeah, so Danny's making fun of her for that, which
Yeah,
I thought
that
was
was
really
great.
funny. They then go poolside and they're talking to Janet about how the fuck did El Coyote go so sideways to like obviously fine you're drinking, but why are you screaming at everyone? I think it was Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron is a better Luke. Like he's this peripheral person who's like, can you explain this storyline to me? And to like stir it up a little bit. He does it. It was very smooth how Aaron did it.
Yeah.
And love Luke. But
Yeah.
I like Aaron better.
No.
With his googly eyes. And basically they're saying Michelle feels that Kristen is bringing Jenna around specifically to make her feel insecure about her relationship with Aaron. I don't think Kristen gives a shit. And I think that Janet is just pushing this narrative for no fucking good reason.
Yeah.
But it's working, which is such a bummer.
Yeah.
I wish Michelle was not.
I know.
This.
But I keep going back to what Nia said, and I think it's a really good point. We never hear about what's going on in Janet's relationship or Janet's marriage, but Janet wants to know about everybody else's relationship and everybody else's marriage. And she's so worried about everybody talking about her marriage, and she keeps bringing it up all the time. I don't know.
Do you know what I think it is? I've told you, I've said this multiple times. I'm worried that I am Janet in real life. And I think that if I'm going to follow that, I would say it's because Janet's so fucking boring. They don't have anything to talk about. So Janet does not have any drama, so she desperately needs to find it everywhere else.
I get that.
And that's why she can't let this ring thing go, because it's the only thing keeping her relevant in conflict.
Okay.
Fuck you, Janet.
We hate you.
I'm sorry. And I think I'm the same way because Matt and I are boring.
You're not boring. You lean out the window at a Dutch Bros and scream at strangers.
We're fine. I guess that's what it is. We're fine. Yeah, I'm not boring. I am terrifying people in coffee lines, drive-thrus, every couple of days. So the next thing that we see is Zach. And Zach this episode, I'm just going to skip through everything Zach does until the very end. Zach this whole episode is just running around completely panicked and neurotic, trying to get all of the stuff out of the presidential suite, except for Jesse.
Except for Jesse.
He's staying there. But picking up Jesse's underwear.
Oh, gross.
and then swapping hotel rooms with Kristen and Luke so that they can have the presidential suite, which, let me just say, he didn't have to do. But it probably would have been a lot easier if he had just given it to them. But also, then maybe Kristen would have figured out. It's complicated. I think he did his best. I think everyone did their best. But he's then trying to get everything out of Kristen's room. And apparently, Kristen moves the fuck into a hotel room. Because every drawer, every cabinet, every little nook and cranny has her shit somewhere. And he's completely overwhelmed trying to get it all together. And then his job is also to set up, they have like a little luau dinner that's going to be outside, but it's very windy. Just in general, everybody, if you're next to the ocean, I don't care what ocean you're next to, it's going to be windy. Yeah. Especially in the evening and in the morning. Yeah. So that's when everything is changing. It's windy. And he was not prepared for that. So he's like, I need glue or tape or something. Glue. And then he's trying to get the concierge or the event coordinator to drink with him. She's like, I don't drink. He's like, but we need a shot. And she's like,
can't drink on the job.
Give me some ice water.
Yeah.
I don't do this. Mm-hmm. And then he also has to call everybody. Yeah. And get all that done. Meanwhile, actually, I've skipped ahead again. He was cleaning up his room. As he's cleaning up his room, Luke is about ready to take Nia and Danny, and Kristen and Luke are going to go on this boat trip to go fishing. And Kristen's like, hey, she's just hanging out, doesn't notice what's going on around her. She's completely oblivious, which is quite sweet. And Luke's like, let's go. You need to, like, get ready. And she's like, I'm not going to shower. There's going to be fish guts everywhere. I'm just going to go like this in this swimsuit. And, like,
I love it.
It's going to be icky. I don't even know. And he's like, no, you should shower.
Get ready.
You should go get ready. And she's like, no, I don't really want to. I'm already hot. I'm not really that comfortable. I think it's fine. And he's like, you don't want to change? And she's like, no, I'm just going to wear this. And it's like a swimsuit and shorts. And he's like, you can see him
panic. Yeah.
While trying to stay quite calm. And she's picking up on none of it. Because as we know, Kristen is an empath. And apparently we find out in the after show that Nia has been looped in by Luke, and he's like, get her to shower. I need her to shower. She won't shower.
Get her to shower.
And Nia's like sending her pictures of like, these are examples of the pictures that I want to get, like couple pictures on the boat. And Nia's sending her all pictures of people getting engaged. Like engagement photo shoots. And Kristen's like, I don't want to take a picture. I don't want to get... And she, I guess, had also, like, lost a nail. She's like, put a nail on. Put a fake nail on for the pictures. You would really like to have nice pictures. We're going to have nice pictures. And she's oblivious.
So funny. Yeah.
Detective Doty is oblivious in this whole situation. And Luke, I feel like he's one of those guys that's like, stone-faced, but you can see everything in his body language
still.
Just stressed. And they had also shown, did you understand what they were talking about? They showed like a flash, and they've shown this in all of the trailers of the season as well, where he's drunk, and he's like, I just needed you to support me, Kristen. And she's like, okay. They gave no context to that, but they're like, this is Luke last night freaking out. And we're like, what?
Oh, yeah.
Did that come from?
Oh, yeah.
But the next morning, he's calm on the surface, and he's keeping it all in. But I want to know more about his breakdown the night before their engagement.
Well, she was like, I want someone, I'm going to pay you to snort this wasabi. Remember?
Yeah. Is that why he felt unsupported?
I don't know, but she got him drunk somehow.
I think he got himself drunk.
Yeah.
I think he was just stressed drinking.
And snorting wasabi, so.
That can't be good for you.
Oh, God, no. That has to burn so bad, dude.
It's got to be really bad.
Gross.
Yeah. I thought everyone had grown out of that by then, but no, I guess not.
No.
But it was just not on... Yeah, she's just not into it. Poor Zach. But yeah, Luke had said Kristen not wanting to shower was not on his radar.
Yeah.
He had gotten everything so perfectly lined up.
Yep.
And everything so planned and together, and he had roped in just the people that he absolutely had to.
Yeah.
And he was like, I didn't realize that the linchpin of this was getting her to shout.
Right?
I love it.
Yeah.
They do all that we really see of Jax. We see him twice for 2 seconds. Once is when he's FaceTiming the guys.
Yeah.
We're getting into your cruise time. And then you actually see him at the house with Cruz swimming. And then also they keep doing like flashbacks of him going, my son is going to be the best medicine for me.
Oh, my
I just
Lord.
miss him so much. And then he's swimming around with Cruz, which is great. I'm glad he's spending time with his son. His son can't stay with him. His son is staying at the house with the nanny while Jax will come over and visit sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know how you think you have a leg to stand on when that's the amount of contact you get to have with your son.
Yuck.
But I'm also glad he didn't go on this vacation.
Oh, yeah. That was such a nice relief.
Yeah. They did like a hula dance class, which was a pile of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, Jesse, and Jason get together. And Jesse actually says that he's kind of come to the decision that he just needs to respect that Isabella really, really loves Aaron.
Yeah.
And he's like, so what am I going to do? Sabotage that when it's like, this is someone that cares for her and she really loves, so I'm going to be, nice. And
Yeah.
Jax is like, I wish I could think like that. It's like, you could, Jax. You really could think of things that way, but you actively choose not to. Like,
What are you going to do? Beat up your kid because your kid likes somebody else? I mean, what is this?
make
What
them
do
feel bad about it. It's gross.
Yeah.
So gross. But then they're sitting there chatting, and again, Jason's sitting there to be the catalyst of shit stirring. He was like, somehow hockey came up, and they start telling this story about how in 2016, Jesse had actually been broken up from being with Michelle because Michelle doesn't believe in ex-girlfriends. She's talked about this. This is why Jenna is such an issue.
Oh.
She doesn't believe in ex-girlfriends or having any sort of contact with them ever. They have to die after you break up.
Yeah.
Is the rule.
It's the rule. Thank you.
But he'd been playing hockey, got a concussion, and he called up Michelle. And he was like, I need someone to pick me up from Cedar Sinai. And she picks him up, and they get back together. And because of that concussion that he got, that's really why they got back together. They were together for 8 years after that. And Aaron was like, did you ever break up again at any point? And Jesse was like, no, I haven't. And then Jason goes, well, there's that one other time. Meaning they're divorced.
Yeah.
It was so funny, but it was like, why? And Aaron's genuinely trying to be kind and respectful and forge a connection with Jesse. Yeah. And I don't know, we know all of Jesse's innermost thoughts because he shares them in the after show.
Yeah.
Does Aaron think that this is... Aaron, don't bother.
Oh,
Don't bother, Aaron.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
It's not real.
It's not real and it's not worth it. Yeah. Be standoffish. Be respectful from 20 feet away. You don't need to be friends
20 feet away.
There's no right. Like this, it's just not helpful.
Yeah.
And Jesse just needs to sit there and keep doing little digs. He actually says, I take a few digs when I can, because he goes, well, technically me and Michelle are still together.
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
Oh.
You're like, stop it.
And he's like, isn't that true, lawyer? And Jason's like refusing to say anything. It's like, no, you're separated. You fucking stop. She's actively trying to divorce you. She's pushing
Not
for
together.
it so
No.
hard.
No.
But he goes, respect is a two-way street, but I just need you. And he's talking to Aaron. He's like, I need you to be on my team.
No. This is
no.
not a competition, sir.
Well, and if it is, Aaron's not picking you.
Yeah. Right. He's sleeping with Michelle. He's picking her.
He's trying to move in with Michelle or get Michelle to move in with him. This is not... He doesn't want to be on your team. He doesn't need to be on your team. I guess Jesse has a girlfriend, and the girlfriend immediately started texting Michelle to see what she was comfortable with and what the boundaries are and that sort of thing. I think that's fucking weird too.
I don't know that I believe that. So that's just my pick. I don't. That's from Jesse's mouth, so I don't know if I believe that.
Fair.
I mean, if
And
it's
also,
true, it's true,
weird.
but I think it's weird and that I tend not to believe it.
I think the parents,
Mm-hmm.
I think Jesse and Michelle have a conversation.
Yeah.
And then they carry whatever that is
Mm-hmm.
down the line to their significant others
Yeah.
and their families and whatever.
Yeah.
And then if something outside of whatever boundaries or rules were set happens, you address it with the other parent.
Mm-hmm.
You don't co-parent with the other partner. That's not how it fucking
Nope.
weird. So weird.
Yeah.
But then, and that's the part that I'm like not. That's the only part I was really uncomfortable with this whole episode. Everything else is fun, I think, for the most part, or petty and so little, whatever. Right?
Or
it's
petty.
Like fun.
Yeah.
It's fun drama, not stressful drama.
Yeah.
That triggers me as a child of divorce. They're on the fishing boat, and Kristen had not expected the boat to be like a nice boat.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that in the after show, they run down all the ways that Kristen accidentally was sabotaging her own proposal over and over and over again. So, like, she didn't want to shower. She didn't want to get cute. She broke her nail.
Yeah.
And Nia's, like, trying to actively fix all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to get her out and, like, looking at everything. She's like, but it's fucking hot. I don't like it. Ew, gross. And then they're trying to, it's almost sunset.
Mm-hmm.
And she's inside the boat on her phone doing her football fantasy draft. And, like, sitting on the ring but doesn't know it.
Yeah.
And they're trying to orchestrate all of these different things. I thought it was quite sweet. And then she was like, guys, we should be drinking. And they're like, yeah. And she's like, oh, champagne, let's drink that. And they're like, can we wait until sunset? And she's like, why can't we just have it now? Fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was blasting her in the face.
Oh, yeah. Right in the face. Nothing.
So cute. So cute. But yeah, her not feeling it at all was so hilarious to me. And then they end up orchestrating it where they're like, oh, the perfect light. And then she has to go take pictures of Nia and Danny to get her, like, in the right position while Luke can finally get the ring from underneath her butt. And then they're like, oh, there's dolphins to get her looking like Titanic at the end of the boat. And then he, like, has her turn around and he's like, babe. And she goes, what the fuck? Which is, and she's like, I wish I hadn't have done that. And he's like, we both regret saying fuck this season.
Yeah.
Oh. What was your reaction when you got proposed to?
I said that. I said, what the fuck? And I gave it back to him. I said, no, like that. And I gave it back to him. And he just looked at me. I said, we're not doing, no, this is not happening here. No.
Where was it?
No, it was at home.
Oh.
We were watching a movie.
Oh.
And he went to get popcorn in the kitchen, came back with the popcorn bowl, and handed me the paper towel, and it was wrapped in the paper towel. And I opened up the paper towel, and I was like, what the fuck? And I looked at him, and I said, no, this is not happening like this. This is not happening like, no, nope. And I just kept looking forward. He was like, what is going on? Nope.
That's
I'm not being proposed to in a recliner and a lazy boy watching a movie in my house. No.
Matt had a grand plan. And I was really into dinosaurs. I had, like, hundreds and hundreds of dinosaur toys. I was really into it. I don't have any. I didn't move with them because I purge everything whenever we move. But I had hundreds of dinosaur toys, and that was, like, my thing that I collected. And so he was going to propose to me at the Smithsonian Natural History Museum Natural History Museum in front of the dinosaur exhibits. And that would have been amazing. Except that it was the 100th annual Boy Scout Jubilee. jamboree, something like that. So there were tens of thousands of Boy Scouts everywhere in the National Mall. Because, like, we were going to go look at museums, and I'm not paying attention to what the Boy Scout jamborees are. But they were everywhere. So there were boys from, whatever ages Boy Scouts are in, like 6 to high school.
18,
just everywhere. Tens of thousands, flooding everything.
Yep.
And Matt's like, let's go look at the dinosaurs. And I was like, I'm not fucking going and looking at we're not going to get through anywhere. I'm not getting elbowed by a preteen again. Like, I'm not dealing with this. But we ended up going into this, in between the Smithsonian museums, there are like little gardens, and there's this really beautiful garden. And it was like the first minute that we didn't have hundreds of people around us. It was like suddenly we were all alone. And so Matt was like, this is the moment. And I saw him fishing in his pocket, and I was like, doesn't he know that I'm going to expect him to propose if he's fishing around in his pocket? That's like a shitty thing to do. And then all of a sudden he pulls out the ring, and I had a full-blown panic attack. I do not remember what happened.
Oh.
No idea what happened. Just blacked out. But we did get married. I said yes, I guess. I don't really remember. I just know that I cried, and he said, I was like, I don't think Matt got down on one knee. And Matt's like, I 100% got down on one knee. And I was like, well, what did you say? And he's like, I said this whole long thing. And I was like, I don't remember any of it. Poor Luke. I gotta bring it back. What did Luke say? Would you be the catch of my life?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I guess he regrets it.
Yeah.
In the after show, he's like, I don't know why I said that. It's like I was on a boat, and then I got real themey. Like, oh, Luke. I think he said it twice. Come on. But he was nervous. It's fine.
Yeah. Diarrhea for 2 days, so give him a minute.
Yeah, it's not even his fault. But it was very sweet.
Yeah.
She was so excited, and she was so happy. And of course she said yes. She didn't even realize it was real. She's completely surprised.
Yeah.
Completely surprised. So that was just like wonderful to watch. And I think that having Mia and Danny on that boat was the best thing that Luke could have done. Because not only did Mia take fantastic photos of them, like their like engagement photos of like that moment, phenomenal, lit perfectly, great like angles, everyone looks good. Mia is a queen. And they were just there and happy and supportive and cheering them on and so celebratory of them. Wonderful. That Luke did that part correctly. Yeah. He looped in Zach. Zach is doing all the prep on the back end. The only reason Zach knows is because Zach guessed. And so then Luke's like, can you do XYZ for me as well? Here's some shirts I want to get printed. I want to have this surprise party when we get back. And then Zach also gets roped into notifying everyone else on the trip that this has happened. And I'm super curious about your opinions on this. There are two reactions that were very surprising to everyone, including me, and I think probably to you. Janet. When Janet finds out, she goes, well, I guess I should go through Brittany first, because that timeline works better. Okay, so first is Brittany. Brittany gets the call from Zach, and her immediate reaction, which she now says she regrets or is embarrassed by, she was like, why wasn't I included on this? Yeah. One, she's from Kentucky, and apparently Kentucky people are known for their fishing. But she would have loved to go fishing, and I guess she was irritated and upset that she wasn't invited to go fishing. And then why would you leave her out of knowing what was going on? Because she loves a theme party. She's the queen of theme parties. I don't disagree with her on that point. She would have been fantastic at that. But she's like, what the hell? The FOMO is through the roof for her. She's excited for them, but also like, what? Yeah. What did you think when she was having that reaction?
I was not surprised that she was upset that they didn't tell her. But then I understood why they didn't tell her. One word, Jax.
Right.
But he's not there, and I get that. He's not there. But she's not trustworthy and she's not reliable. She will tell everybody.
Yeah.
She
and
will
it's
tell
not
everybody.
malicious.
No.
It's not malicious.
No.
But if something slipped to Jax,
yeah,
he is going to blow shit up because that's his favorite thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Luke was right to say, like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a little nervous that she was going to get a little more upset than she did. I was kind of waiting for it, but she didn't. I was like, oh, okay, all right, we're good. But yeah.
She did take that frustration out on Zach. I think if you could go back, ideally, I would have had Zach tell her the second that they got on the boat so she could have helped him.
Oh,
right?
yeah. No, yeah, I get that too.
Because Zach was spread a little thin. He did everything all by himself, plus Benji helped him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Zach had to tell everybody. Mm-hmm. Then, as Zach is telling Brittany, Jason is eavesdropping, hears it, and runs to tell Janet and Michelle. Which, as a good husband, if I'm Janet, he did exactly correct. If Matt ever eavesdrop and hears some tea, I want him to twinkle toes to me as quickly as possible with whatever little tidbits of gossip there are. That he did what he's supposed to do as a husband. But he's like, by the way, guys, this just happened. And Janet is like, we're not going to dinner. There's a luau dinner tonight. We are not going. This vacation is no longer our vacation. This vacation is their engagement trip. That's what this is. So we are not going to go to dinner. Let's go somewhere else. Jason's reaction to this is like, what just I just told you they got engaged. That doesn't mean that we're blowing up the rest of our vacation to not be included. She's like, yeah, and we're not going to do whatever they're doing tomorrow. She and I are not good. I want them to have a good time. I don't want them coming back and the first thing she sees is me and she's uncomfortable. She just said she didn't want me in her room. She doesn't want me at her engagement party. I don't want to throw things off. She said that she sent a bottle of champagne to say, look, we are happy for you guys, but she bowed out. And Jason's like, I took a week off of work. This is my vacation too. Can you stop making decisions without talking to me? I don't know. How did you feel about Janet?
Janet's making it all about herself. I think it's fucking stupid. The entire thing is now about Janet. You think production is going to follow you to your dinner, Janet, which is what I think she wanted. No, they're not going to follow you to your stupid dinner. And Jason had every right to say everything that he did. She completely shut him down and talked over him and controlled him and told him what to do. And he was just sitting there like, what is happening? Am I in the fucking Matrix? What's going on? I'm being told what to do by my wife. No, I'm in Hawaii. I don't have my kid for a week. I took a week off of work. I'm on vacation. No. What do you mean we're not going? And Janet's like, yeah, we're not doing this. No. She made it about her. She is that was not genuine. That was not sincere. No.
And everyone's pretending that it was.
Yep.
I think part of me was like, it's the right move. I see where that's the right move. The other part of me goes, she wanted to make a statement about by not being there. She wanted her absence to be felt.
Yep.
I think. And she's like, we're not going to go. And I don't think we're not going to go tomorrow either.
Yep.
And he's like, Jason's like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Stop making decisions without me. And she's like, fine, you go. She's like, but I'm hungry. I thought we'd be eating by now. I'm very hungry. So let's go get dinner. Where are we going to go get dinner? Just pretending like she's not upending every single bit of this.
Yep.
I'd be pissed if I was Jason, especially because it's like, I'm so excited to go have drinks with my friends and go hang out and have this, and now I have to go pay for dinner. Yep. I don't know where to go have dinner.
Yep. Yep. She can walk up to Kristen and say, I know things aren't good. I'm congratulating you. Like, this is so nice. I'm so happy for you. And then walk to another corner. She can totally do that and not have any interaction with her. But are you kidding me?
Why did Luke need them there? is what I don't understand.
Is he, maybe is he friends with Jason? I don't.
No, because
No.
Jason's mad about the ring thing still.
Okay. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. Is it Zach? True Zach? I don't know. Maybe Janet's there because
Well,
of Zach.
Luke wanted them to come, wanted everybody to come.
Yeah.
But Nia didn't feel comfortable asking because she was not on good terms.
Yeah.
So she's like, why would we invite them? I don't understand. That is one of the questions that I want someone to ask. And they haven't answered that for me yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
But even Janet feels very strongly that she did the right thing. She's like, we are so happy for them. She did just attack my marriage and so-and-so's marriage and so-and-so's marriage. But that doesn't mean she doesn't deserve to have a good, happy engagement. And like, look at you. You're so great. Throwing her under the bus in that moment. And Brittany says that she felt like she was being selfish and she's embarrassed by her big reaction. She's like, I was going through stuff. Plus I was drunk. I had this big reaction that I'm not thrilled with.
Yeah.
I wish and Lala is in the after show with her and she's like, I think everyone kind of gets it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
The other person who had to be informed was Jessie. Because it was like, hey, by the way, Jessie, you're going to be rooming with Kristen and Luke. Because apparently Kristen and Luke still have to... Jessie gets to stay in the presidential suite, butler suite, or whatever it is. And he hears about it and he goes, let's get 500 white roses and 500 hibiscus petals. And then he's like, 5,000 hibiscuses. And he's calling, and I guess he spent like an hour calling all these different floors. We watch people hang up on him.
I know.
And he's like, a hibiscus is the state flower of Hawaii, so I should be able to just get a bag of 500 of them and decorate them everywhere.
What?
And Zach's like, or you could just help me with the decorations that I actually physically already have.
Yeah.
And yeah, we didn't see Jessie helping. But that was fun. So Kristen and Luke are engaged now. Everyone had a big party except for Janet and Jason with them, and it looked very sweet and happy. So I'm excited. I do like Kristen and Luke together. She just had her baby and they had the photo shoot and she sold the story about her baby photo shoot to Us Weekly. Get that bag. Mm-hmm. Good job, Kristen. I'm excited for you. Mm-hmm. How did Kristen and Luke meet? Matt asked me this. He's like, how did they meet? How do they know each other? Because why are they connected? He's not from LA. I think they met at a friend's wedding or something.
I don't remember. We know this and I can't remember. She has told us this and I don't remember.
It doesn't make sense. They don't make sense together on paper, but it's working out and they seem to be a really good, sweet, healthy couple. So I'm happy for them.
I think we have to go back to season 1 because I think she tells us in season 1.
I'll give it a goog at some point. All right, so next week looks intense again. So we get to see everyone fight at the party or the hangout that Janet says she wasn't going to go to. I think she goes. So we'll see how that all shakes out.
Yeah. Kristen puts her scent on the party and says, this is my party. BITCH. You can move on by.
So at least Janet can feel like at least she was correct, knowing this is no longer our vacation.
Correct.
It's her engagement trip.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So feel good about that, Janet. Bitch. I rewatched today. Okay, moving on. We are going to talk about episode 3 of the Gilgo Beach Murderer House of Horrors on Peacock. Documentary, the 3rd part. I rewatched it today, and Matt sat with me through it because he's like actually interested in it now because it is such a whacked out story. And this 3rd part, if they had just made all of this into 3 hours, I feel like they could have.
Yeah.
I would have watched much more of just this. It was so good. And I don't think I've ever seen anything like what they've done with this documentary as far as watching this family in real time, having to respond to the allegations that their dad is a murderer. The evidence is in your house.
Oh.
It's all been torn apart.
Yeah.
Mom, full denial that he could possibly ever have done what he's being accused of. The daughter just wrestling with everything. It's amazing. So, good call, Keely. It was so, so, so good.
Yeah. So the third episode, let me back up. The second episode, episode 2, they leave off. It leaves off with the second raid on their house. So they raid their house a second time, and they're not quite sure why. And then the third episode starts with them basically explaining why they raid the house the second time. They're tying Rex to more murders because of what they found on the hard drives, these 400 devices from his office and his house. So they have, they have this HK 2002/2004 document where they believe it's this planning document on how to prepare and dispose of these bodies. And so that's why they go back into the house. That's why they go back into the gun room and tear apart that part of the house. That's why they go back to the second, do the second raid on the house. So that's where episode 3 starts. And they explain all of that.
It's like her lawyer walking them through.
Yeah.
And if you're the lawyer, he is fantastic at his job because he's literally there. I guess some lawyers, you're basically a therapist as well.
Oh my God.
Because he's so supportive and non-judgmental.
Yeah.
And just, let's lay out the facts. I'm going to explain this to you.
Yes.
This is where we're at. And he's not telling her, this is what they have, this is what they've got. And he's not pushing her to accept it.
No.
He's just explaining it.
Yes, he just explains what they have in this. He calls it a bail indictment, which is basically we call it a complaint here in Idaho. It's the same thing as their bail document over there. It's what holds them in jail. Mm-hmm. And so he is explaining how they're tying Rex to this 2003 murder of this girl, Jessica Taylor, and how Asa and the kids were on a vacation in Vermont at this time. And Asa, you can see her wheels turning and she's thinking about it. She's like, I was just trying to show my kids a good time. I don't understand. She says that a lot. She's like, I just don't understand. I was trying to take my kids to have some fun. And you're telling me that my husband is doing all of these things while I'm taking my kids to have some fun. And he says, that's what they're alleging. Yes, that's what I'm telling you. And they explain some connections with a gun club near a certain road where this Jessica Taylor's body was dumped. That's on this planning document. So he's explaining the correlation to this document with her husband, with the house. So he's trying to explain these things to her.
Because the house looks wrecked.
Yes.
It looks bad. And the part that, because I was completely overwhelmed, like they have chunks of the soffits taken off of the basement. Mm-hmm. And there's the tiles, like the drop ceiling tiles. Yeah. And he's like, this is why they took those. In the document, he's talking about push pins, and he would use these push pins to help for blood splatter to... Yeah. That scene just wrecked me for that poor daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because...
yeah, they talk about that he used the push pins. He didn't use that instead of tape because, right, the tape holds biological evidence, right, like hair and things, where the push pin doesn't hold those. And so the push pins hold up tarp to catch the blood spatter. And so that's why they took out the ceiling tiles in the gun room. And then on the planning document, he had concerns for sound travel. Sounds like things from inside going out and sounds outside coming in, like birds and things like that. They talked about that, just explaining these things to the family, saying that Rex didn't want sound to obviously escape from inside the house out for whatever he was doing to the women inside the home. And the legal aid starts to read to Victoria from this document. I'll refer to it as a complaint. That's how I know it in my job. So she's reading from the complaint to Victoria about the section with the crossbar and the hard points, which is where the crossbar is placed under the table to provide further structural support if he's holding or hanging the bodies from the ceiling. However, if he's torturing them, or if that's after he's killing them, or if he's hanging them or strangling them, or however they're not quite sure. But they were trying to explain that to the family. Just explaining that somehow the bodies were suspended from the ceiling in the gun room. Maybe just referencing maybe sexual bondage in some way. They weren't quite sure if that was an aspect in what he was doing to these women. That's why they took some boards at the top of the ceiling out to see if there were any holes from any screws that he had put in there. So the attorney is trying to be so, I don't know, genuine and kind with his words to explain these things to her, to both everybody in the family. And then Asa just laughs and says, this document, this planning document is just so Dexter style. It's absolutely absurd.
Like, she doesn't believe
No.
that he could have written this.
No. Yeah.
And she's like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And then the daughter comes in and says, if he did this, he was some sort of Superman, because this room used to be his bedroom growing up as a child. And he would have to just be out of his mind to be able to do that in this room.
She's like, it wouldn't make sense.
It wouldn't make sense.
His own childhood bedroom.
Right.
And I feel like it unlocked something when she said it out loud.
Right.
Did you?
100%.
Like,
I thought that too.
I felt like you saw it on her face when she realized, oh, there's something really deep and really dark and really sick. It's not this weird thing that they're accusing him of.
Yeah.
This is something really deep, dark, and sick. And I mean, that moment was so powerful to me.
Yeah.
My heart broke for her.
Yeah.
The mom, still fully in denial.
Yeah.
The daughter, it's all starting to crack for her.
Yeah.
One of the things, and the mom's like, at first she's like, okay. And then she starts kind of laughing it off. Yeah. And you kind of get like, she's like, this is Dexter stuff. It doesn't make sense. And her lawyer is very gently and very calmly going, okay, where they found that file, it was
Yeah.
with the technology, they can see that it was created physically on this hard drive,
Right.
physically here.
Right.
It was
On this
made-
keyboard. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can see where that was all done, and that was
Mhm.
done here.
Mhm.
So he's trying to steer her towards this is a real thing,
Yeah.
and you can see it start, and then she just closes it shut.
Mhm.
The daughter, it's starting to dawn on her,
Yeah.
and it's heartbreaking. It's just
I know.
heartbreaking.
So when he's the attorney is telling her all this, and so I watched this episode twice,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't catch this, that I'm going to tell you this right now, the first time, but I caught it the second time. So Asa says to the attorney, they're picking and making assumptions for their narrative, and these are all allegations. And then she says, quote, "I've known that since I was 18 years old." Okay. I'm sorry, but she just said, "I've known that since I was 18 years old." I'm going to say it again. They
What
are
did she know?
picking, right. They are picking and making assumptions for their narrative, and these are all allegations. I've known that since I was 18 years old. So she met him when she was 18. I'm telling you right now, I have I have goosebumps right now, because now I completely think something different. I didn't catch that she said that the first time I watched it.
Like,
And I
she might
rewound
know.
it like 3 times, and I read that's a direct quote that she said that. "I have known that since I was 18 years old. These are all allegations." What? I don't know how to feel about that sentence. I feel like she knows something, or he has told her something, or they've
Or-
talked about something. I don't know. So they go on, the producers go on and say, "So are you not convinced? Are you reserving your right to wait until trial?" And she says, "He's never said I can't go on his computer. He's never said I can't have his password. Nothing's off limits with him." See, that's another thing. I think they've had some conversations when she said, "I've known this since I was 18 years old." I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go on. So Victoria, she's wavering back and forth. She says, I need to hear some more evidence. I don't want to pick a side. So the producers are talking to her and saying, "Do you need to hear it in trial? Is this a protection for you? Is it more so about being convinced by the evidence, right? Or are you just protecting yourself?" And she says, I feel like I need to protect myself, to keep my head on straight. These are not my memories. And if you think about it, right, she knows this man as her dad, right?
Yeah.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong for her to know this man as her dad. I don't know why people need to villainize her knowing this man as her dad. I said this before.
Yeah.
2 things can be true at the same time, right? This man can be her dad and be this serial killer at the same time. And she's just got to understand that. But,
Well,
she
and
said,
her experience of him
right,
isn't that. And
obviously, right?
These men are
Right.
able to compartmentalize.
Yeah. You're right. Right. So yeah, the producer says, "Is it possible you can still love your dad and he could still be guilty?" And she says, if he's guilty, if it turns out he's guilty, it's going to be a love-hate relationship with me. So that's that poor thing. She's just so sad. So then they go on and explain how it becomes this multi-jurisdictional effort with multi-states. They explain that they finally find his vehicle in South Carolina, on a property that he owns, in a property that his brother owns. And if they hadn't expanded the search, I don't think they would have found his Chevy Avalanche in South Carolina. But they expanded the search because on this document, one of his Google searches was, what was it? Asian male twinks, I think it was. And one of the bodies that was found on Gilgo Beach was this male Asian doe. So this gentleman was dressed up as a woman, and it was actually a man that was killed. And so they
found in the same way.
Yeah.
Except his head was smashed in.
Right. And so they started connecting Rex to all these different murders in different states. That's how they found his car in a different state. And if they hadn't have done that, I don't think they would have found his car, like I said.
No. Well, and this investigation had already taken for fucking ever.
Yeah.
Because of the corruption in the police department that wasn't even related to it. Because they didn't want to work with the FBI. Who I think would have linked a lot of things a lot faster. But also, a lot of the evidence continues to be found because the technology keeps getting better. They're able to trace the DNA in different, better ways. They're able to trace what's on the hard drives. Better, that sort of thing.
People are calling him some new breed of super predator. He's able to manipulate his family and compartmentalize his life and function as a professional and function as a father and engage in normal social interactions. He has all these fake email addresses and all these identities and all these burner phones. And apparently for now, he's one of his kind, that they're not quite understanding how he did all of these things for so many years. And at one point, Dennis Rader, the BTK killer, wrote into a national media outlet saying that, Rex Heuermann is basically his clone, where, his arrest was that his media and his devices and the DNA was all of his downfall also. And so that's how he was found out as well. And then that brings us to his daughter going and visiting and supporting Asa and Victoria and Christopher. So she goes to their house to talk to them.
Amazing.
Yeah, her name is Carrie. And she starts to say, in July of 2023, when Rex was arrested, that she had a lot of PTSD from when her dad was arrested, because her dad was 59 when he was arrested and Victoria was 26 because she was 26 when her dad was arrested. And so she says she knows what it's like to live, with a psychopath, and she wanted to lend some support. So she goes over there and checks on the family. And she says that Asa is living in kind of like this loop where this is not, the FBI tells her one story and Asa thinks, well, that's not what was happening on that day. Or she tries to remember, what were we doing on that day? And it's really hard for her to connect the dots. And
well, they say, your brain will just throw away information that doesn't fit into what you believe or how you think. If it doesn't align with what you want the truth to be. And I think Asa's just doing that over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, he couldn't have murdered her because he was at Home Depot.
Yeah.
I have a receipt that says he went to Home Depot that day. So
Right.
how could he have murdered her that day?
Right.
It's like, well,
right.
Home Depot doesn't take all day. Also.
Yeah.
But she can't. She's like, this is all that fits.
Yeah. So she said, her dad was a constant liar. All he did was manipulate people, and everything that came out of his mouth was a lie. And she said, this is what their dad is probably doing also. And it's really hard for them to try and understand that. And it's going to take a long time for them to understand that. And she pulls Victoria aside outside alone away from Asa and says, how are you doing? And Victoria is just like, I'm not doing good. People want me dead. They tell me, which is horrible. Why do people do that? Why do people blame her? There's no reason. Why would a 13-year-old need to feel that way or feel guilt or shame?
Responsible for her parents' action.
No.
Yeah.
No, there's absolutely no reason for any of that, or for people to believe that these people should have known that this was going on in their house.
Right.
It's just absolutely insanity. So, Victoria goes back on, she says, I'm on the fence. I'm just not quite sure what to believe. One day I'm angry. One day I'm sad. One day I don't know what to do. And Carrie says, that's all normal. One day you're going to be great. One day you're going to be in denial. One day you're okay. One day you're rock bottom. And that's just how it's going to be. And that's normal. And that's how it's going to be. And when I was watching that, I'm thinking, I'm wondering if these people are in therapy now. I don't know.
I think Carrie is.
Yeah.
I don't get the feeling that Asa is into therapy. I think hopefully the daughter does get into therapy.
Yeah.
And what are the chances that these two women have experienced such similar things?
Yeah.
And are able to connect. So I think that's amazing that she was able to reach out and be supportive. I also cannot get over the fact that she is so, again, non-judgmental.
Yeah.
But both of these women experience their fathers as loving, active fathers.
Mm-hmm.
They were provided for. They had good lives, good home lives. It seems like overall they had no idea. They're completely blindsided by this whole thing.
Yeah.
There are people who grow up in abusive households.
Right.
And they're like, oh my God, my dad was violent.
Yeah.
This is something completely different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, hopefully this becomes something where they can support each other.
Right. But it's almost harder to have that when their dad loves them so much, and to find out that the complete opposite is happening on the outside, or they're doing something like that, the complete opposite to somebody else, when you can't understand how you can love me so much and hate this stranger so badly, right? And murder these people so badly. It's, your brain doesn't.
Or that you can do that,
that
you can be both of those people.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the craziest part.
Right.
So.
Right. And after that, then we meet David Jimenez, who is Rex Heuermann's BFF, this lovely gentleman. He goes and visits Rex at the prison or jail. Mm-hmm. They talk about that. He goes in to see him one day, and they have this discussion about whether, Rex did this or not. And he tells this story about, he just confronts him and says, hey man, did you do this or not? Because I don't know what to believe. I don't know what's going on, because the person that I know would not do this. And,
but they have all this evidence.
Yeah. They dug up your house. Your family is suffering. This is not, do you want your family to suffer? Because your family's suffering. Tell me what's going on. And he's, Rex says, they're not going to find anything in my house. They're not going to find anything there. And which is kind of chilling and gross to say. And
also they have found stuff.
Yeah. And David's like, just don't drag your wife and your family through this. If you've done something, just come clean. Just tell me what happened. Confess to what you've done. And then he's like, did you do it? Just tell me what happened. And David said that Rex teared up and started to cry. And David said he got the feeling that Rex did do it. So, I mean, he intimated that was a confession, but he never said that Rex said that he did it. So I don't know. Take that with whatever you will. So that's between the two of them, and that's the way he told that story. So
yeah,
we won't know. It's just interesting that friendship between those two men, and
he tells the story about going to the gun range with him. They would like shoot guns.
Yeah.
And Rex Tillerman had like 300 guns or something.
Yeah.
But he took his kids shooting. Yep. That was just something that he was very active in. And he didn't use these guns.
Yeah.
As far as we can tell in his murders.
Yeah.
So that was just a different side of him.
Yeah.
His friend does tell the story about how they had gone to the range and Rex had walked down to wherever the targets were and was doing something. Mm-hmm. And his friend had picked up a gun and cocked it or was like, had moved it around, made a sound.
Oh, yeah.
And Rex turned around and charged at him. This guy was not a big guy.
Yeah.
Rex Huberman, gigantic. Ogre of a man, comes after him, pulls a gun out of his side, and is holding it right up to his face. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? And his friend is like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And in that moment, he was like, oh, I'm going to die.
Yep.
I mean, to have, like, in 2 seconds to turn like that. Yeah. I mean, it's a gun range. I think that guy fucking around with a gun when his friend's back's turned in general is disrespectful. Sure. I don't know too much about guns. I haven't been shooting that much.
Yeah.
But I do feel like you have to have a lot of respect and be very, very safe when you're handling guns.
Yeah.
Especially around other people, right? There's certain rules to it, and this guy kind of seems like a putz who maybe wouldn't follow all the rules exactly like he should have. So I'm not saying that Rex Huberman was correct in pulling a gun on his friend.
Sure.
But that whole thing, that was an interesting little tidbit that gives you a little bit of an insight on their bizarre dynamic.
Yeah, and how he can kind of change from one person to the next instantly.
Well, and the friend that yes, exactly. And the friend that he picked is this sniveling little weenie. Sorry. Oops.
Yeah. Sure.
Just in general seemed that kind of vibe. And then his wife is also this, like, wouldn't bother to ever look at what's going on.
Yeah.
In the basement. Wouldn't bother to ever look at what's on his computer. Because why would she need to? I don't need to look. I don't know. I've been with Matt. We had our 19-year anniversary yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't think that Matt's cheating on me. Do I look at what's on his phone sometimes just for the fun of it? But that's the Janet in me. I don't know. I don't know, maybe.
I don't know.
But to never look in like 40 years, I don't know.
I don't know. It just is strange. I don't know. I don't know. I just keep going back to that comment. I've known that since I was 18 years old. It's just super weird. Mm-hmm. It's just super weird. And then we go to January of 2025. So it's super recent. I mean, we're now July of 2025. So, 6 months ago, the attorney comes back on and he says, it has taken a lot to get Asa to get to be at a point of stability, which we can see, right? In the beginning, she was, I don't want to say unhinged, but she was getting poked at by the press right in front of her house and was not responding well, which I wouldn't either, right? I'm not blaming her for any of that, to where now she's able to have a documentary and respond to questions truthfully and have not that kind of reaction too. And so he's saying this is taking a lot of time to get her to where she's at right now. And we're feeling really good about where she's at. And I think what he's kind of inferring is giving her all of this information and she's taking it in and really kind of not throwing it back out, right? And so the producers ask her again, and I was kind of getting annoyed. How could you not know, Asa, that Rex was doing this?
Right.
And she said, I don't have definitive proof, right? There's no way to know for sure whether or not I would have saw any signs. And I guess that's true, right? You don't really know until you know. I mean, heck, I don't know what I saw yesterday in my own house, kind of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you think about that kind of stuff. And
I mean, you move through life and
right.
something that
Right.
you had no idea about
Right.
suddenly appears.
Right. Yeah. And her attorney, they cut back to her attorney, and he says he believes that she is an extremely intelligent woman, which I don't disagree with, but he believes she suffers from domestic Stockholm syndrome. And I had to look that up. Did you know what that was?
I did not know what that was.
And it says they find themselves rationalizing their abuser's behavior, believing that love will ultimately change them. So, yeah. I mean, I can totally get that. I don't know. I mean, that kind of fits her from her reaction with everything.
I mean, or that, like, saying, like, there's a reason that he did it. And
Yeah.
or it's okay that he did that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The producers ask about the DNA, about 6 bodies having, the whole family's DNA, and how does that work? And she just says the word circumstantial, and I just kind of
dismisses it.
Yep, dismiss it.
Circumstantial.
And it's just so hard. And the attorney says enough circumstantial evidence in a case that a reasonable person can reach a conclusion that something happened. That is exactly what happens in a trial, right? That's why I tell you circumstantial evidence has the word evidence in it. When you go to a trial and they present you with circumstantial evidence, right? The jury finds that person guilty because just that sentence, a reasonable person can come to the conclusion that something happened, right? So that's what the attorney says. I don't know. He says he thinks that Rex, victimized Asa, thinks that she's kind of a emotionally weak person, and that she fits the profile for someone that, like you said, can just sit in the background and not question anything that he does or where he goes or where.
Depends on her. Like,
Yeah.
her reality,
Yeah.
her stability
Yeah.
depends on
Yeah.
him being her loving husband.
Mm-hmm.
And him
Yeah.
providing this life for them. And I'm not saying that, like a sugar daddy provided this.
Oh,
lifestyle,
no, yeah.
But I'm just saying,
That's not, yeah.
he is the structure of
Yeah.
the life that she is living.
Yeah.
And I think when that's shaken, I think that that's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's put her head in the sand as far as this goes.
Yeah. And the attorney said that an emotionally stable person probably would have caught on sooner. that Rex was, doing something shady somewhere, somehow, and would have caught on something. That's what he believes, would have seen some red flag
The red
somewhere.
flags.
Yeah.
I mean, she was adopted,
Yeah.
but not when she was a baby.
Yeah.
Separated from her brother.
Yeah.
Moved to another country.
Yeah.
Went back and forth, though.
Yeah.
Got married.
Yeah.
Had a horrible divorce.
Yeah.
I think that there's some survival mechanisms
Sure.
that are not necessarily healthy.
Sure.
That are just like how she functions.
Sure.
And I think, I think his victims' families deserve justice and deserve closure.
Yeah.
I don't think she deserves to be punished. I don't think she facilitated. I don't think she willingly, maliciously, or had any idea that she was facilitating what he was doing.
Right.
In any sort of real way.
Right.
Although then there's now, I think forever it's going to stick in my head that she was like, I knew that from when I was.
Right. I don't think it was like
there's some part of her that did know.
Correct.
And if there's some part of her that did know that could have stopped him from murdering, but she's this tiny little, I don't know. How much responsibility could she bear if she did know anything?
Right.
If she did know anything, if there was any part of her that understood what part of her is responsible. And it's like, you want to say, you stop, you tell someone, you run away, you get your kids and you leave. Was that really an option for her? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
That's for a jury to decide.
Right. Here's the thing. Oh. So you don't, I don't think that she said, we went to Six Flags so he could kidnap Maureen Brainerd Barnes and torture and kill her. I don't think it was that. I don't think she knew that he was going to take this woman and torture and kill her. I don't think she knew that. What I'm leaning towards now is that he had a tendency for maybe some different ways of
sexual proclivities.
Right. Sexual proclivities that were not her taste. And she allowed that. And when she was out of town is when he took care of that, meaning not went and murdered people, but
so she was tuned into the fact that he may be seeing other women.
Correct.
Maybe she knew that there were prostitutes.
Yeah, that's what I am now thinking. That's why she went on vacations. That's why she was so,
or at least could say, like, I bet I maybe know that that's happening while I'm on vacation.
Right. And that's that. Right. And that's why she was like, I don't need to look at his computer because I know that's on his computer. He has told me it's on his computer. He has told me I have looked at porn. This is the porn that I look at. And she's like, okay, this is now what I think.
I mean, I think that's really possible. I can totally see if he was like, hey, this is the XYZ stuff I'm into.
Right.
But let's say it's weird but not dangerous, right?
Right.
And no judgment.
Right.
Judgment. But let's say he's into something unique.
Yeah.
And she's not into it.
Yeah.
And so she decides to look the other way, that when she's out of town, he's hiring somebody to fulfill that specific niche fantasy. There's literally nothing wrong with that. The murder is where we have the violence, and the murder is where we have the problem with it.
Yes.
And I mean, I guess maybe she has to be in denial, because if she did know that, right? If she did know that maybe he was seeing prostitutes, then to go, I guess it's not that far of a jump that there have been all of these prostitutes murdered when I go on vacation.
Yes.
I think to have the realization of, oh, holy shit, that would probably break you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Holy shit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and then swinging back, the producers ask her, well, Asa, are you just the most unlucky person? Like, that was a good question, I thought, too, because, you know, she's just throwing it back at him like, no, no, no. And she says, no, I won't believe any information until I see it, which I guess is fair, right? You know, you have to wait till trial, till everybody, you know, I guess sees everything. And the attorney, you know, comes back on and says Rex basically was her savior and rescued her and her young son, just like we were talking about, and cared for them in their time when they needed her, when, you know, the most. And that's what she's sticking with. But, and then the end of the show, we get to see what's happening basically kind of right now,
Yeah.
where they're like leaving. They end up selling their house and they're moving. But she says she's planning on coming back for the trial, which I think is awesome. You know, that they're leaving the house. The trial date hasn't been set yet, which is outrageous. I still can't believe that.
Well, his fucking lawyer.
Yeah.
Sorry. I
know.
I mean, I guess
I know.
defense attorneys are in a difficult situation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't understand how he could be innocent.
I know.
But it hasn't been allegedly. It's all allegedly.
Yeah.
But if you have to do that, like, it sucks. But, like,
Yeah.
this guy's saying, like, what? DNA evidence? When have we ever trusted DNA evidence?
Yeah.
It's only 99.99999% probable that it's definitely him.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He was, like, saying that, and then there are a couple things that he was like, what is this? They're saying it based on technology?
Yeah.
Do we really trust this?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we do.
So Steve and I had that same conversation, and he looked at me and he goes, are you shitting me? Does that actually happen? And I said, yes. And I would like to explain that to you because it happens, and it happens a lot in my work. So here's what happens. And I'll give you a couple examples. So for actually this case, remember when this kind of all started in the early, 2010s, and they didn't really test DNA, right? Or they did, and they didn't have the exact matches. Mm-hmm. So the technology that they had back then, or even if they had the technology, wasn't either 100% accurate or it didn't match exactly. So it would be like, I don't know, using a shovel versus, I don't know, using a sledgehammer, right? You have one instrument is better than the other, right? To test the DNA, okay? So the test results that they have for the certain DNA that they want to present to the jury, they don't want to use maybe the one that they tested in the 2010s. They want to keep that out because maybe it's not reliable, because it's not as, what's the word I'm searching for?
Reliable?
It's not the one that comes back as certain as this was Rex Huerman's hair, right? It just says it's a male. Right. It's just a male hair.
Oh, okay.
So do you see what I'm saying?
Not specific. It's not pinpointing. Okay.
Right. So the prosecutor says, I want to use this DNA because it says this DNA is male. And the defense says, no, we're not using it because it's not as specific. I don't want to use it because that technology is bad. Do you see what I'm saying? Because it was from 2010. They want to keep that out. So that happens a lot because that technology was so far removed. It's, 10, 12, 15 years ago, where
Right.
they want to use the technology. They want to test it today, where the technology says it's Rex Huerman's hair. This is 100% or 99.999% that it's Rex Huerman's hair.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference, the technology that they used on that.
So, but they can't retest
Right.
it.
Correct. That's right.
So it's like, oh.
Right. So that's why they're fighting about whether they're keeping it in or not. And so the other stuff like I have had in court with me specifically is, I'll give you another example, like alcohol. When we have a driving under the influence charge, when they test the alcohol for, they have these weird tests that either the alcohol in your blood is rising or lowering, and it's very hard, to see at what point is your alcohol level either up or down. And so they want to keep that away from the jury, or they want to give it to the jury. And based on the time that you were stopped, or the time that you were arrested, or the time that you had the drink, it's all, we don't know. We don't know what time, right? Your alcohol level was what? And so then they fight about whether they keep that in or out based on the technology that they used, whether you used a breath test, they used the blood test, whether they used the test in the lab, whether they used this test that they split the blood, and I mean all of this weird stuff that they do. I mean, it's very intense and it's very different. And so I've had judges that have kept it out. I have judges that have kept it in, and I've had juries that have found people not guilty based on it because they didn't understand it.
I mean, I feel like that's the job of the defense attorney,
right,
is to, like, if we can't,
right,
like, prove that you're innocent, then we're going to make it too confusing,
right,
to prove that you're guilty.
Right. And so
it's
that's
shitty, but that's literally
and
their
that's
job.
why they're arguing it. And so that's how I see what they're doing is when they say technology, that's what I believe that they're talking about.
You just sounded slimy, right?
Yeah.
Like, getting up on the podium talking to the press, that guy just sounded like, that guy, somebody needs to punch him in the face.
Yeah. And then they talked about having one trial versus 5 different trials. So that is another thing that would be very confusing for a jury. So, I mean, you think about that, right? Do you want to drag it on for 10 years or 5 years and have 5 trials and do the same thing over and over and over again? Or do you want to have a trial that lasts 8 months to a year, where this jury has to sit there that long and really pay attention and take these notes for each person? And that is very difficult and very long for these person to, I mean, that's a really hard thing to have to decide. So that is really hard, a decision to make too. I don't know. I don't know what's the right choice there either. I mean, put yourself in as a juror. Do you want to sit there for 8 months and listen to that long of a trial and try and keep each one of those murders separately and decide each one of those facts? Or do you want to keep going back and having this trial over and over and over again?
Would it be the same? It wouldn't be the same jury for each trial, though, right? Okay.
No, you just keep doing it.
I mean,
yeah.
I feel like, but then what is most like it? How do you get justice?
Right. No, you're right. I totally get that. I totally
because
get
then
that.
if they're able to throw something out in one of the trials,
right,
and they fuck up one of the trials, and then the next guy is like, well, we can.
Yep. I totally get that. It's so awful. Yep. And all of this is why it takes so long to finally say, okay, we're having a trial on XYZ date.
But they are saying they're looking at the move. The family's leaving.
Yeah, the family's
And
leaving.
they're finally getting away from. I mean, she can't. Everyone knows who she is.
Yeah.
The media still hounds her, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone's just waiting for the trial to
Yeah.
get sorted.
Yeah.
So they can start the trial. And
Yes.
when she's been to any of the hearings beforehand, she's like ambushed by media.
Yes.
Right? Everyone's more excited to see her than it seems like they're even excited to see Rex.
Yes.
I mean, I'm going crazy over this documentary. I get it. So hopefully she can go be somewhere that not everyone knows exactly who she is.
Mm-hmm.
That this doesn't follow her in the same way. They don't have a relationship where they used to see her husband taking out the trash all the time.
Yeah.
I think she is going to be known wherever she goes.
Yeah.
But
the last thing she says is, quote, "I did what I had to do to protect myself and my children." If you go back to what she said about she's known this since she was 18 years old, and then she says that, I'm losing my mind. I'm absolutely losing my mind. I don't know. I think she knew.
I think your theory is correct. I don't think she knew about murders, but I think that there were things that she looked past that she could have put two and two together.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
I know. Oh, I just hope that her and her kids can get some therapy and...
Well, and here's the thing. Her kids aren't kids anymore.
Yeah. I know.
I think her son has to live with her.
I know.
We didn't get too much information about that.
Yeah.
I know they have like a therapy dog.
Yeah.
But we don't know exactly what else is going on. I think her daughter is going to have to start her life from scratch on her own to have any sort of like chance.
Do you think she's ever going to leave her mom and live on her own?
I don't know that she feels like she can.
Yeah.
But if she stays with her mom and her mom continues to live in denial, is she going to be able to move forward?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
and what did you see the end with the update on where she stands on everything?
Oh, yeah. I wrote that down too. She said, Victoria told producers based on facts presented and explained to her now believes her father is most likely the Gilgo Beach killer. Oh, Victoria. I'm so happy and sad at the same time.
Yeah. And it's like, I feel bad for her, and I feel bad for her mother.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for the son.
Yeah.
And then I go, he destroyed their lives, and he murdered, we don't even know how many.
Oh, how many?
And he destroyed the lives of the children of the mothers that he killed, of the mothers of the children that he killed.
Yeah.
Like, he is a monster.
Yeah.
I will be interested in watching that trial.
And I think it's just going to keep going. I wonder if they're just going to keep charging him with more murders, or...
like, just keep linking him to more things.
Sure, keep linking him to more murders. Or I keep thinking about what you said last week, if he's going to off himself in jail and we'll never know. I don't know.
Is he going to be one of those guys that goes, well, I'm in here forever.
Yeah.
I'm proud of it. Let me tell you all my things.
Or right? Maybe.
Right? Yeah. Or just be like, you're never going to know. Like, feeling that, at least he has that sense of power of like, you'll never find out.
That's
you're never going to figure it all out.
Biggest narcissist ever. Say never. You're never going to know. I'm out.
Ugh.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't know how to feel.
Well, we'll probably have updates.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of murders, and we don't have to talk about this if you don't want to.
Okay.
The guy that murdered everybody in court, murdered the people
Oh, yeah.
in Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah.
Everyone is like pretty upset that he got a plea
Yeah,
deal.
it did.
Is that anything that's happening in your courthouse?
Yeah, that happened today.
Well, is that what you don't want to talk about?
No, that's no,
Okay.
no. That happened today. We actually
Okay.
had SWAT and we had quite a big police presence. We had drug dogs in our parking lot and actually sniffed my truck and all of our vehicles. And we had quite a big media presence, and we weren't allowed to go in certain parts of the courthouse. And yeah, it was a little tense in the office today. Well, the courthouse, not
I
my
bet.
specific office, but yeah, it was a little tense today. But yeah, it's called allocution. So he allocated to the crimes. He just basically said yes. So the judge said, "Did you X?" And he said yes to the crimes. And they set it over for sentencing at the end of the month for 2 days to be able to give the victim's family what's called a victim impact statement, and what the prosecutor want to say and what defense wants to say, and if anything he wants to say. My thought is, I don't think he's going to say anything. Meaning, like for instance, the Dennis Rader BTK stood up and said, this woman named X, I kidnapped her from her home on this date. I raped her. I strangled her. And this woman on this day, I did this to her. He is not, and I believe Brian Koberger, I believe that those families either think or believe he's going to do that or want him to do that for closure. I don't think he's going to do that, unfortunately. I don't think he's going to apologize, which is sad. This is all my opinion. I don't think he's going to apologize. I don't think he's going to give a reason. They don't need to. There's nothing that says you have to. Most people are upset because there's no closure, meaning the families don't get something in return. For instance, with this plea deal, he's going to get life in prison. So he doesn't get the death penalty. They've taken that off the table. He doesn't get to appeal. They've taken that away from him. He doesn't get a parole. They've taken that away from him. So, but what he does get is he gets to watch TV. He gets to go outside. He gets to speak to people. He gets to have a meal every day for the rest of his life. He gets to live. The families don't get something in return for their dead families, for the lives that he took without their permission. And that is what they are so upset about. With him getting the death penalty, they get something in return, his death. They feel some sort of closure. They feel that they get something back. And with him going to prison and him getting to have all of those things, they don't get anything. He gets a life. He gets his own life. And yeah, he gets to sit in a cell, whatever, 2x4 or 4x6 or 4x8 or whatever the cell size is. But he gets to live his life, and he gets to watch whatever program. He gets to play cards, and he gets to go outside, and he gets to lift weights, and he gets to do all of these things for the rest of his life. And they don't. And that's why they're so upset.
Yeah.
That's why I said in the beginning, he's not going to turn around and look at them and say, I'm sorry. He's not going to turn around and say, I butchered your daughter because I didn't like her, or because I was in love with her, or because she spurned my advances, or because I drove by her house, and walked in there. I mean, whatever. He's not going to do that. And that's
So
what they...
everyone just sits with, I have no idea why this
Correct.
happened.
So they're going to sit with that instead of getting something in return. So they feel gypped, and and I get that.
Yeah.
I personally don't feel that when you murder someone you have any rights anymore, that you don't have the right to have your life anymore. I'm sorry, but you have taken someone else's life away, and you don't get to have that anymore. But that is my opinion. So, but my opinion doesn't matter. So this is what we do in a court of law. They negotiate these things. So
I think our system is so complicated.
yeah, it is.
And I think that's like trying to find the
Yeah.
the justice, the real justice in things, I think is so difficult. And there really is, I don't think anyone would say like, oh, well, I feel better about things now that he's in prison for the rest of his life. Of course. I don't think they're going to feel any better about things when they go, well, now he's going to get murdered.
Correct.
The person that they love is still gone.
Correct.
I don't think that means that he gets to go live his life.
Correct.
I don't know.
Family is not going to be brought back. Whether he goes to prison or he gets put to death, their family member is not coming back. I was talking to Steve, and I said some of the family probably does not want to sit through a trial and listen to the gruesome way in which he butchered their daughter or their son. They probably don't want to hear that. And so they're happy with not having to listen to that.
I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
I don't know. In other family, maybe they want to have a trial because they want to force him to listen to the state say what he did out loud for the world to hear, what he did to their daughter or their son, that he has to sit through that. And they want him to do that. They want him to sit through all of that. That's another thing. So it's all of those things. It's really confusing. They're all grieving. They're all sad. They're all angry. And I have no idea what it's like. I can't pretend to know what they're feeling or what they're going through. And it's so, so sad. But
total bummer. Sorry to bring it up. I was just curious if you...
No, that's what we did today.
I wonder if that's something that you're dealing with. Oh.
Yeah, so that will be the end of this month for 2 days. That's going to be a little salty again.
Wild. You've dealt with some pretty high-profile stuff in the last few years.
Yeah, this is our third one in a row. But it was nice to not have a trial that long, because the last two we've had trials, they were like 4 months, and it was very hard to have those. Our courthouse was basically shut down, and we couldn't move about the cabin, if you will, to do our job. It was very restricted. There was a lot of police presence, and it was just kind of annoying that I couldn't move around my work just to go outside or go to lunch or come in and out of the building because it was just so heavily guarded. I don't know. And this one was even worse. So it was going to be worse. But it was nice that way that we're not doing that. But I'm really sad that the families are
going through all of this.
So upset about it. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know how to transition out of that. It's
I don't know
awful.
what we're going to talk about next week. We got to find something to watch and talk about next week.
I thought we had.
Did you have something? I was going to look and see if to bring something up, but I didn't have time today.
We'll discuss.
Okay.
Figure out a good one. That's all I got. It's still really hot in here.
I haven't heard your AC.
But yeah, Matt finished decorating.
Looks so good.
It looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
His side is all toys. But it's only the beginning of July, so I only have like 3 more months of intensifying heat to deal with. But eventually it'll get very cold in here, and then I'll just be all bundled up.
Yeah, it'll get 70 degrees.
Sometimes it goes down to the 50s.
Oh my God. If I could punch you in the face, I would.
Sometimes it's like 57.
Oh my God. That's it. We're not friends. We're not friends anymore.
You can come visit when it's that, and you would love it. You'll be here in shorts. I'll be like shivering under 12 blankets, and you'll be like,
what is wrong with you?
Like, yes. What's wrong with you? Well, your husband never wears shorts even in blizzards. Mm-hmm. Or your husband only wears shorts even in blizzards.
Yes.
But then also wears sweatshirts in the summer.
That's true. Yes. What's that called? The moron? Oh, oxymoron.
I was going to just say like broken inside.
Oh. You would be nicer.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I love you. Thank you for talking about these groups of just messed up relationships and murderers with me.
Yeah.
And we'll do it again next week.
Yeah.
Yay. All right. Thanks everybody for listening again. And we'll have a fun conversation about cults, also known as Love Island, next week.
Right. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.